Hi students, let's review question 2 and question 3 on page 92 and 93 of your workbook. Okay, so let me do a summarize of what are the different type of questions that you can encounter for the chapter on number patterns. So there are basically 5 type of questions. First one, which is level 1 question. So basically, they'll give you the number sequence and you need to identify the rule. That's level 1. Level 2, once you have identified the rule of the number sequence, you can be asked to find out what are the next two terms of the number sequence, or for in this case, you are asked to draw out the next two figures of the sequence. Level 3, which is level 3, right, given a general expression for n term, find a term of any position. So that means they give you the general expression, you replace the n accordingly, and you find the term of that position. So for example, they ask you to find the 100th term and you're given the expression of 4n minus 1. So basically you just need to replace n with 100 to find out what is the 100th term of this number sequence. So level 4, given the number sequence, find the expression for n term. So I believe we have go through some of this example already for the past few videos. So if you're still unsure, you can review these videos again. And lastly, given any number, are we able to show whether this number belongs to this number sequence or not? So this is level 5. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically for number sequence, there are basically 5 types of questions. So if you can solve all these 5 types of questions, that means you're good to go for this chapter. Okay, so let's look at some of your classmate work. So credits to Kate for doing this work. So if there's any mistake and stuff, this will be a good opportunity for us to learn and improve further. Okay, so for this question here, question 2, we need to identify what is the rule. So when it's figure 1, there are 3 dots. When it's figure 2, there are 6 dots. When it's figure 3, there are 10 dots. So Kate has found a pattern. So she noticed that from figure 1 to 2 is plus 3. From figure 2 to 3 is plus 4. From figure 3 to 4 is plus 5. So that means, right, the next few patterns will be plus 6, plus 7, and so on and so forth. So for figure 5 will be plus 6 to get figure 5, plus 7, plus 8, plus 9, plus 10, plus 11. So you can actually see that there's a pattern running over here. So if you are unsure how to write out the number of dots or calculate the number of dots for figure number 10, right, you can actually list it out. This is all right. So it's 66 correct. Okay, so part 3 asks you, as the figure number increase, how does the number of dots change? So it's figure 1. So in order for me to get to figure 2, right, I need to plus 3. In order to get to figure 3, I need to plus 4. In order to get to figure 4, I need to plus 5. In order to get to figure 5, I need to plus 6. So you notice, right, the number of dots that increase, right, is the figure number plus 1. So to express this better, is n plus 1, where n represents the position or the figure number. Okay, so in part 4, Building that the number of dots in figure n is given by this formula here. So do you agree? And show your working clearly. So for this type of questions, right, there are two ways to do it. So the first way will be to check. So if let's say this formula works, you have to check whether all the figure number here fit this pattern or not. So all figure fit. Okay, so when all figure, so when the number of dots for all the figure fits the formula, that means that this formula is correct. But if you can find, if you find one figure and the number of dots doesn't tally with what you have formed in this table here, this means that this formula will not work. Why? Because for the general expression, so for level 3, so this is a level 3 question. So for a general expression for n term, it must fit every single number or term in the number sequence. Why? Because this expression of n term represents every single number, every term in the number sequence. Okay, so let's check for the first one. So let's say I'm looking at figure 1. So figure 1 has 3 dots. So if I use this formula, half, so I replace all the n that I see with brackets. Why? Because it reminds me that I need to replace n with 1. So I replace n with 1 because I'm looking at figure number 1. So I put in a value and I calculate. So 1 plus 3 plus 2 is 6. So 1 plus 3 plus 2 is 6. So this is 3. That means figure number 1 works. So let's check the next one. Okay, let's say I pick somewhere in the middle. So figure 3 has 10 dots. So let's see whether it works or not. So half I write the same thing again. Replace all the n with brackets. And this time around I replace n with 3. So let's calculate. So 3 square is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. 18 plus 2 is 20. 20 by 2 is 10. It seems to work also. So let's look at the last number, figure 10. Okay, so figure 10. Okay, let me write here. Figure. Okay, let me write here. Okay, so for figure 10, I have 66 dots. So if let's say I use the formula here, half and then replace all the n with brackets. So now let's check. So since it's figure 10, right, that means my n will be replaced with 10. Then now I calculate. So 10 squared is 100, 10 times 10. 100 plus 30 plus 2 is 60. 132. 132 divided by 2 is 66. So for this case, it tells me that the formula that she gave here, it agrees with all the number of dots that she listed here. No matter you use the figure 1, it works. Figure 3, it works. And figure 10, it also works. That means that I agree with this formula here. So, since the formula give the correct number of dots, I agree with her. So this is question number 2.